Welcome back to the Smartbuild implementation series. This is part 6, Foundation. So the first thing before we get into the setup and adding new foundation items, we want to do a quick review of different types of foundations that Smartbuild supports. This first example here, I have my foundation tab open here in details in an actual project, and I have the type set to post-ho, probably the most common types of buildings that we design in Smartbuild. We are a post frame software, so this is kind of where we start. And you have depth, you have a post offset width, so several settings here, and you may not be sure what they all mean. And then the advanced post settings, which is a lot more control on a per wall, per opening basis. So starting here just with the basics and looking at a post hole foundation 4 feet in the ground with this offset. So one thing that comes up is, what is this offset? And if we jump over into a details drawing that I have, you can see this offset dimension here at the bottom. And in this example I'm showing here has a 5-inch offset. And then with the way that corresponds with your settings, what's really common is to have a section of concrete, or maybe you call it a pole peel or a concrete cookie, something at the bottom of the post hole. So if you want that representation to show up as concrete on this drawing set, you can offset your post a bit from the bottom of the hole and you get this concrete void here in the bottom. So that's a neat little trick that you can use when you're setting up your foundation setting. So the post hole, again, this is the depth, how far in the ground, the post offset, how far it's coming up from the bottom of the hole where the lumber or the framing starts, and then the size of the hole. If it's a round circular hole, so we have a 18-inch size here. So footing depth and width, they don't really apply when you're using post hole. And then you can have up to 3 different hardware items that may be going to the bottom or attaching or anchoring this post. And in this situation, it's all just going into the hole. So again, this is just one scenario that we see a lot of. If we kind of switch gears here and move into another example of a post hole, and some people say, well, I do permacolumns. So we have a way that you can partially show permacolumns, I guess, in the model. Not 100%, but it does give you a kind of a little bit different visual than you would normally get. So I have it 4 feet in the ground, and I offset my post 5 feet. So that brings, and it creates this blue cylinder 5 feet up from the bottom. And then I change the width to 8 inches since it's about the same size as the post. And then that looks pretty accurate when it comes to a permacolumn. And again, you could still have a fastener, maybe something like that. And then if you set up your permacolumns to be a part number that you want to bring in with your post. So Smartbuild knows how long this wood post is here. So the permacolumn could be the base attaching it. So it's a combined product. So we're getting 2 different part numbers here to create this total price. And again, permacolumn's a little more advanced setup, but I just wanted to show you an example of that. Then the last example that we'll get into here is just a stem wall. So whether you're doing stud frame buildings or post frame, you may be using a stem wall foundation. And again, you can set up the depth, how far in the ground the foundation is, and then how far it comes back up. So when you set this post offset, that's saying 1 foot out of the ground. So you can see I have it 1 foot coming out of the grade, and then the width or the thickness of the wall. So I'm doing an 8-inch wall. And again, you could still have hardware items, and these hardware items are usually not showing up. So these are not visually shown in the model. They're just showing up on your material list, and then that helps create an accurate bid and takeoff. So those are 3 quick examples of items that we need to set up in foundation. And they have to be set up in the foundation category so that they can be used in these 3 places. So any item that you would set up as a fastener, a base, or an uplift, you would want to put them into this category that we're focusing on in this session. So back to the setup wizard, you go to settings and foundation here, and then you'll get some generic items here, just like before, and just reviewing some of these. So an 80-pound bag of Sackcrete. That's pretty standard in the industry. You have a SKU, you have a description. Again, you could just use this one if you want to save yourself time, and just edit what's here, set up your cost and your price. We have a weight already defined, and then these are where it can be used in the job. So you may only decide that you're always going to use your concrete as a fastener item, and you don't need it for base and uplift. So you're welcome to change these. Now, one thing is, some people that say I do up to 3 bags of Sackcrete per hoe. This would be a way that you could have 1 bag as a fastener, 1 as a base, and 1 as the uplift. So you could do 3, or you can mix and match. And just think about that as you as you set these up. In some cases, if you need 10 bags, obviously we don't have 10 settings here or 10 places that you can put things in. So you just need to create kind of a combination part number that says, like this one says 2 bags. You could have one that says 3 or 4 or maybe even more, but it would be the price of that many bags of Sackcrete. So back to this foundation tab here. If you want to add a new item, it's the same process. You click the plus sign, enter your SKU description, and just fill out this form here, then choose your usages. So the foundation is a bit easier to set up than sheeting and trim and some of the others. Not as involved, but just scrolling down through here, some people would want to set up something like ready mix concrete. And if you have a price, if you want to do the math and get your cost of, okay, each time that I have to fill a post hole 4 foot deep, my concrete cost would be X amount of dollars. You could set this up and have a cost adder that would be just in here. And each time you use this as your foundation base or uplift, and this could be, a 4 foot cylinder of concrete, whatever that is. So you could customize this, set these up however you want. And again, with the same case as other categories, we encourage you can look at these, delete what you don't want, or completely delete out everything and start fresh. But a lot of these hardware brackets, those are kind of industry standard. If you see the sturdy wall and the permacolumn, things like that, those are all pretty common to be seen. If you're doing a steel database setup, the same case applies. A lot of these wood items, you wouldn't see these. You kind of have your standard steel items that you would upload into here, whether it's a boating or a mounting bracket for your I-beams. So that is a really quick rundown of foundation. And again, there are multiple types of foundations that you could use in Smartbuild. And then the last one, I didn't cover it to begin with, but the last type of foundation you may have, and it may be none of these first three, is just a slab. And we have it listed here, thick edge slab. So it is a choice in here. And when you use thick edge slab, your settings may look a little bit different, where depth and offset don't really apply in that case. So you have a 0 depth, 0 offset. But what does apply here is you could have a footing depth and a footing width, which that is your spread footing. So if you have a drawing like this, it would show the spread footing here. And then back to, open up this here. So back to the size of, so you have a thick edge slab, and the depth could be 0, the offset could be 0, and the width could be maybe 8 inches. And this is at the bottom of the edge of the slab. So over into the slab setting, so we have a slab depth, we have a slab offset. This just drops your slab into the grade or raises it up, depending on what number you put in here. Then you have this thick edge slab depth. So if you have a 1 foot thick edge at the edge of the slab, kind of a monolithic pour, you can also show that. So you can play around with those settings and then go to just save it in a sample job, and you can go to the cross section view and you can kind of see what you're getting. So again, everything in the foundation will list out here, and it will show a drawing here of what you've designed. So you can play around with that and adjust your skirt board up and down depending on your foundation. And so there's a lot of settings that work together to create a drawing set like this. So here's probably the most popular is this post hole type that we're showing here. So that wraps up the foundation section of the implementation process. And thanks for watching. So we'll see you soon.